The samurai who cut a bullet in half, a guy who has an emotional connection to lions, and a man who can never freeze no matter how cold it gets. We have all of this on today's most amazing top 10 list. Coming in at number 10, we have Isomachi, the man who cut a bullet in half. I mean, we have all watched movies where some amazing swordsman could cut a bullet in half and everyone was like, oh my god, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. But what about a dude who did it in real life? Isomachi is considered one of the greatest samurai of the modern era. He holds several world records performed with a sword. He holds the record for the most precision cuts performed in less than 30 minutes, which is over 1,000. I mean, if you think about it, it would be exhausting to swing a sword 1,000 times. That is already a feat. But then this guy was also being extremely accurate with it. He also cut a baseball in half that was flying 161 kilometers an hour, which is 100 miles an hour. I mean, now people do this in the MLB all the time. They hit a really fast ball with a bat, which is a similar feat. But since none of these feats were really getting people going, he decided he would cut a bullet in half. Let's catch that in slow motion. Yo, what? That's absolutely insane. It makes you want to pick up a sword and start swinging at stuff. Next on the list we have Abdor Borson, the strongest man in the world. He's the strongest man in the world. Let me say that again. This dude is the strongest man in the world. That is an insane title to hold. Many of you might know him because he played the Mountain in Game of Thrones. You remember the massive dude that crushed a man's head until it popped like a little grape? Yeah, it's that dude. This dude was competing in strongman competitions for a while, but it wasn't until 2018 that he became the world's strongest man. A beastly title that anyone should be proud of, but that wasn't enough for him. He wanted to get a record that would stand the test of time. So he broke the world deadlift record and lifted 501 kilograms, which is over 1,000 pounds for anyone who's watching who doesn't know metric. That seems like too much weight for any person to ever pick up. Coming in number 8, we have Master Ho, the man with the finger of steel. Shaolin monks doing crazy things is nothing new. They are probably some of the most impressive people on the planet that we don't talk about. Like, have you ever seen a Shaolin monk throw a pin through glass? That's insane. Well, Master Ho has something equally impressive. This dude has a finger that can pierce almost anything. Well, not almost anything, but it's an insanely strong finger. He has been able to smash his finger through a coconut. You know that thing that if it falls on your head, it can kill you because your skull can't handle it? Yeah, his finger can slice into it like slow roasted beef. Take a look at this. Now, he was able to do this from years and years and years of training his finger to be extremely durable. I don't know if that's what I want to spend my life doing, but everyone has their goals. And honestly, it's more impressive than anything I can do with my body. You want to see me nap for 3 hours then eat a piece of pizza that was in a box for 2 days? I'm your man for that. But outside of that, I can't do anything impressive. Next on the list, we have Daniel Tameth, the man with the super brain. Daniel Tameth might be one of the smartest people who has ever lived. The dude has the ability to remember things with extremely specific detail. He can solve math problems that would take 10 of me with calculators to figure out just in his head. He's able to call up specific things that happened way in the past and remember the finest details about them, and he's able to pick up languages faster than almost anyone on the planet. It took him 7 days to learn Icelandic to the point where he could have conversations with people. That is wild. Are you serious? Not to mention that he has a very interesting relationship with numbers. He says that when he sees numbers, they all have their own feeling and color. It's almost like he has an emotional connection to math. Thank God there's one of us out there who really loves it, because when you give me math problems, the only thing I feel is frustration and insecurity. Next on the list, we have Li Lin, the master of magnetism. When you hear master of magnetism, you're going to picture Magneto flying around in the sky, picking up all the metal in the world, and then hurling it down at everyone who isn't a mutant. Now, Lee isn't going to give us the comic book treatment we all want, but he is for sure going to perform some feats with metal that seem to be impossible. So the senior from Malaysia seems to have the power to attract metal to his body. If this guy takes a metal object that isn't too heavy, something that's around 4 pounds, and presses it against his skin, he can get it to stick as if it was being put there with magnets. And this isn't just some suction cup trick. He has proven this by putting an iron on his chest and then stacking bricks on top of it, just so you know that this guy isn't a phony. The explanation for this is that his body is able to pull in some sort of cohesion that attracts metal like magnets, and apparently this gift is hereditary. His sons also have this ability. Next on the list we have Kevin Richardson, the Lion Whisperer. This is a classic superpower that we have seen so many times in comics, but this guy can do it for real. This guy owns an animal sanctuary where he's constantly interacting with tigers, hyenas, lions, and a bunch of other animals that would normally rip you to shreds. And this guy doesn't interact with them on the other side of a cage. No, this dude will get right into the grass and roll around with them, and they love him. They act like he's one of their own. I wouldn't pretend to attack this guy with those cats around unless you want to end up devoured. Next on the list we have Michele Latito, the man who ate a plane. Have you ever been up late and then you get a slice of pizza and then you wake up in the middle of the night because you have heartburn? Well, Michele Latito would laugh in your face because this dude ate a plane like it was nobody's business. Well, who is this dude? Well, he's French and he's got a lot of money. He decided to use some of his money to impress people by buying weird things and then eating them. And this wasn't just something he picked up so people would think he's cool. No, this is something that he's been doing ever since he was a kid. This guy is no poser. When he was only 9 years old, he ate an entire TV set. He has had the urge to eat random things his whole life, and one day he woke up and thought that he could chow down a Chestnut. Now, just to be clear, he didn't put a bib in his collar and then chow down on the whole thing in one sitting. No, this endeavor took him 2 years, but that doesn't diminish how impressive it is. I mean, even if I had the ability to eat inanimate objects like this guy, I don't know if I would spend 2 years eating a plane just for the press. I don't know if I'm that dedicated to anything. Next on the list we have Karnazes, the man who can run forever. How hard is it for you guys to get up and go for runs? Sometimes it can be the biggest struggle in the world, but for Dean is literally not even a thought. This guy has been a long distance runner for longer than I've been on the planet, and he is maybe the best in the world at it. To show people his ability to run forever, he ran on a treadmill for 80 hours. In that time he covered 560 kilometers. Are you serious? Basically, this guy just needs an ample amount of food and water and he can keep running forever. To challenge himself, he ran 50 marathons in 50 days in 50 states. That is absolutely impressive. At number 2 on the list we have Joey Chestnut, the man who ate the most hot dogs. How many hot dogs do you think a human should be able to eat in one sitting? 3? Maybe 4? Maybe if you have that Uncle Ted who's like a big dude, he can eat 10 at the family barbecue? Well, you are nothing compared to the champ, to the man who holds the title, to the guy who is the hot dog eating champion of the world. We all know him as Joey Chestnut. This guy downs eating challenges like it's just a regular brunch with the girls. Joey Chestnut set the world record for hot dogs eaten in one sitting in 10 minutes when this man ate 73 hot dogs. Just so we have a better idea of how much this dude ate, that is 16 pounds of meat and buns. That is 12,000 calories of food. That's like 4 days worth of food that was scarfed down in one sitting. They tried to test this on sports science and they started stuffing meatballs into a silicone stomach that was supposed to simulate the elasticity of a real human stomach, and it just exploded. But Joey Chestnut's body is powerful enough to defy science and handle quantities of food that would kill most people. I don't know what I would do with this superpower other than eat hot dogs, but it's pretty impressive if you ask me. Also, I need to know what his toilet bowl looks like after eating 73 hot dogs in 10 minutes. And coming in at the number 1 spot, we have Wim Hof, the Iceman. Better known as the Iceman, Wim Hof is one of the most incredible people on the planet. He has been able to train his body to withstand freezing temperatures for extended periods of time. He holds the world record for the longest underwater ice swim, where he cut a hole in ice and the dude swam under the ice to a next open hole in the ice. So it was both a breath hold challenge and a cold water challenge, and apparently when he did this, his retinas froze and he had to feel his way out. He does all this through cold therapy and a breathing technique that people have been doing for thousands of years. With this breathing technique, he has also been able to run an Arctic marathon bare-chested. He climbed to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro bare-chested, and he has also been able to fight off sickness. There was an experiment performed where scientists injected him with a toxin that bacteria creates to give you the symptoms of having a cold, and Wim Hof was able to fight off the sickness through his breathing technique. And to prove that this wasn't a fluke and that anyone can do this, he partook in a second experiment where he taught 12 people the breathing technique for a week. Then there were 12 people who didn't do the breathing exercise. Everyone was injected with the same thing that should give you flu-like symptoms. 10 out of the 12 people who didn't do the breathing exercise got sick, and every single person who did the breathing exercise didn't get sick. But wait, there's more. He also wanted to show people the power of their body, so he taught his breathing technique to a group of 24 people, and they all hiked to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro bare-chested. The peak of this mountain is negative 15 degrees Celsius. Only 3 people put on a shirt, and everyone made it to the top with their nips out. And they only did it in 48 hours, and this hike is supposed to take 6 days. That is insane. Alright guys, that has been your list. I have been your host, Jade Arena. And remember, you can have superpowers too. Mwah. Yo, what? That's insane. Wait. Next on the list we have Abdor.